I like to listen to that. You're nervous.
You're good to go, Cathryn.
You've done this before?
Yes.
It's very simple, so I'll introduce you and you can answer questions. Share your experience. Okay, good morning. So thank you for joining me today in person and online. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Sloan Fellows MBA program, and we have a panel of very expert, experienced fellows and alums that will answer some of your questions. So here we are. I just wanted to say hello and sort of what you're doing. Yanis was going to be here. He's an SF17 from Greece. Actually, what he's doing is really cool stuff. So he graduated 2017 with art, and he was named the Chief Innovation Officer at Coca-Cola. He lives in Greece, but he has like 28 different countries around Europe and in Africa. And he's here this week to meet up with all the entrepreneurial resources here at MIT to sort of see if he can source some startups. They've got some innovation ideas. They want to find some new technology and startups that can help them with their business and then help grow it and scale it really fast. So it's a great opportunity for people here at MIT. And it also shows that once you graduate, you're still connected. So he's meeting people at the Center for Entrepreneurship, the Legatum Center, the Engine, the MIT Innovation Initiative. So he's here this week, and he can't come this morning. I was begging him to and hoping he would, but he can't. But instead, we have our group here. You want to start and just say a thing about?
Hi, I'm Neha Sharma. I come from India. My background is in human resources. So I come with 30 years of experience in Asia, and I started working in India, worked in Mexico, and been in States now for the last 7 years. Before moving to Sloan here in Boston, I was in Atlanta. I think that's good enough to start with. I look forward to getting more experience about the program.
She's a current student in arts and an alum.
Arf Kazarian, graduated in 2017. I do the program again. Very good. I'm in software development. Continue to develop my company, as well as started a new company, a startup in the education space, both in software development.
Hi. It's funny, I just have to say, because when I'm talking to all of you on the phone, they're like, it has to be 12 months. It couldn't possibly be more than 12 months. And then once you get here, everyone's like, you need to make this an 18-month program. Like, can I reapply for next year or something? So,
I totally agree. Yeah, we need some breaks to slow down the time a little bit. My name is Reham. I come from Houston. I used to work in the energy sector, in oil and gas, BP in specific. I was M&A, mergers and acquisitions project manager. Before that, I worked in Egypt, so I'm Egyptian by background. And this is about it. Okay.
Great. And my name is Cathryn Noyes. I've been on the admissions team for about 5 years. I've worked at different schools, but also from the private sector. So I started my career as a software engineer at a company called Digital, which has long been merged and bought and sold and fallen apart. So I've sort of gone through lots of different lives.
MIT is an incredible place. It has a mission that I very much believe in, and that is to try to bring knowledge to solve the world's great challenges. And I think the Sloan School of Management plays a critical role in that.
The first time I kind of walked through the doors, you see the big statement of the vision and the mission of the Sloan School to develop principled leaders who will make an impact to improve the world. I think that immediately resonated with me.
One of the aspects that I value and admire about the students in the program is their commitment to personal and professional development at mid-career.
You challenge yourself while you're here. It's not that you're just come here to study, you come here to challenge yourself to be a better leader, to become a better professional.
We, as a group, talked many times about how you go from success, because all of us certainly felt successful when we came here, to significance.
The MIT Sloan Fellows program is created on the foundation of 3 interdependent pillars: leadership, innovation, and global perspective. These pillars are designed to enhance global leadership skills, champion innovation, and view the world through a broader lens with a greater understanding of how economic, social, and political factors can impact an organization.
The great thing about the Sloan Fellows program is that you're really learning from your cohort. They are subject matter experts within their own fields, and they really bring a lot of diversity of thought into the process.
There's an impressive amount of talent density in this place. but it's not about that one individual, but rather the collective effort of the whole group.
We have a phrase that says no fellow left behind, and we very much ascribe to that particular mantra.
Everybody has a great sense of helping each other out and thinking that they are part of a system which is bigger than them.
It's a combination of hard and intense, but also very human.
Well, the Sloan Fellow students are very international. They're completely global from, I think, every single corner of the world. I teach global economics, global management, global political analysis, so it's great fun. I just basically have to line up the conversation, give them the right material, and we go at it.
Professors weren't just saying that they wanted to get everyone involved, but actually getting people involved in the conversation.
The accessibility is amazing, from just a conversation to a cup of coffee to an email that's answered at 10 p.m.
The program prepares you for career advancement and to be a well-rounded leader who can tackle the world's most important challenges.
That mission statement really sets this institution, and more specifically this program, apart from its peer set.
From the very early moment that I was visiting the school, I knew it was the right choice for me.
We really believe in the values that this university stands for.
So there's an incredible sort of energy in this place overall that I think one can only feel.
I think every one of us would tell you that we are changed forever by this experience.
So if you are in that moment, just take the opportunity. Don't wait.
Hello, they're all my friends. All those people that I've met have been here 5 years, so I know pretty much everyone in the program, and it's like visiting old friends. That's great. So you saw this in the video just now. That's down by the cafeteria. I don't know if you noticed that, but it's that huge staircase by the cafeteria in the next building, and it really is a mission-driven school, and people that are here care about what they're doing, and they're trying to make the world a better place in whatever way they can. So why would you choose a mid-career MBA? You're probably very successful where you are. We hear that from a lot of candidates to say, like my family or my boss is saying, why are you coming? You don't need it. And it's for yourself, really. I've heard alums and fellows say it's a gift you give yourself. So you're going to challenge yourself. You're going to relearn new ways of looking at things and perspectives and making decisions and meeting people that are amazing and seeing, cutting edge technology, and it's amazing to apply no matter what your industry is in. No matter what your industry is, you're going to find something here that's amazing that you can apply. You really transform your thinking about how you view the world, how you view people, how you view challenges, and you'll build a lifelong network that's personal but also professional. So I was just sitting there with Giannis, who was hoping to be here today on Tuesday, and that's why I wanted to drag him in. I'm like, oh my God, you're like the perfect person to talk about this. Because he was saying, you talk a lot about family and the personal connections, but this global network is amazing. So he was given last December this task to do a whole strategic outline for how they were going to do innovation in Europe. And he had 3 weeks. He said, it's impossible. I can't do this in 3 weeks. This will take me 6 months. He said, if it wasn't for Sloan Fellows, and I never would have got it done. So he said, I went back and I looked at all Pierre Azuley's stuff, and I read like tons of articles, and then I called, I wrote up this draft, and then he sent it to Manu and Nacho. So Nacho is Ignacio. He's an SF17 who is now like number 2 in Spain at Telefonica, and then Manu, who's at Tetra Pak, and asked them for feedback and had them comment on the draft. He said within 10 days I had this amazing document, and I never could have done it. So you really need to stress that global network of advisors going forward. And you also, the thing I hear a lot about is confidence. So you're here and you leave, and Giannis also had said this, so I knew I could do it. I'm in a completely different state of mind. I know I can do anything. You give me something, I can do this. I can lead this change. And I think that's pretty amazing. We do have 3 forms of the MBA. So we have a 2-year form, and then we have 2 that are just for the executive population. We have the full-time program, which is the Sloan Fellows, and then we have the executive program, which is for mid-career executives. Mostly, that's 90% of them are from the United States. So it's an executive format, 1 weekend every 3 weeks, and so it's a part-time program. This program, you'll earn an MBA. If you choose to do a thesis, you can do a Master's of Science in Management or Management Technologies. Anyone doing a Master of Science, or did you do an MBA, or did you do a thesis?
I did thesis, but I chose to do an MBA because I work at
Yeah. So a lot of people come here with an MBA already. And it depends on, so he could have chosen a Master of Science, but some people want to choose it based on their industry. So sometimes MBA has a particular, they need an MBA, and sometimes they want a Master of Science for whatever reason. But you're fully immersed. The panel will tell you how immersed you are and how dug in you get to the MIT ecosystem and how closely you work with your people, and you really want to unplug from normal life. So I'll talk to some candidates saying, I really have to leave. Can I do some of this, part-time? You really just can't, and you don't want to. Don't take this step unless you can leave it behind and just really be a part of this experience where you're fully immersed and open to all the options that you have here. It's very flexible, so I'll ask the panel a little bit later about what they did to customize their degree. So there's the core curriculum, and that's mostly delivered in the summer. Then you have maybe 1 or 2 core courses in fall and spring, and then you have all the choice that you want for electives, and also lots of other ways to customize your experience here, and we'll talk about that. And because you're here 24/7, basically, you have full-time access to all the resources that are here. So the Media Lab, the Entrepreneurship Center, the professors, all the research that's going on. And life in Cambridge is really fun. I will say that I'll talk to fellows and say, did you go over to Boston? And they're like, no, I never leave Cambridge. Boston is right there, okay? It's right over the river. Walk across the bridge and go to Boston. We have oceans, we have rivers, enjoy it. So the 3 things that we are really looking to do is to focus on leadership, innovation, and the global perspective. So developing leaders who can understand innovation, drive innovation, and change in a global environment, to understand how to work in different business environments, cultural environments. Faculty are amazing. You've probably taken some of these. Simon Johnson, if you don't know who he is, you should Google him. He's our faculty director. He's very committed to improving the program. As you'll know, he surveys the heck out of you and wants beat you over the head to do the surveys, because he's very personally committed to making this the best program. And he wants data and input so that he knows sort of what's needed. The professors are really amazing. You get access to them in class. They're very approachable and available outside of class. And even if you come back as an alum, they'll often be happy to meet with you as well. So this is what the year looks like. So students will usually have the class created by the end of March. And they come for an orientation for a week, and usually the 2nd week of April. And it's hosted by the current students in general. We do a lot of the programming and so forth, but the students really sort of host a lot of the social aspects, and they prepare lists of people that are moving, and so you can see their housing. They collect lists of things they're going to sell, furniture. They invite you to social events. They will challenge you in a soccer game. Sometimes there's injuries that we've seen. So they're a really key part of it in the orientation. And it's really, you can look at your housing options, you understand the class and culture, and also get intro to a lot of the academics. The summer term is all foundation core courses. It's kind of a nice time. It'll be very busy, but it's kind of a nice time to get acclimated, because you're the only program on the campus, with the exception of Master of Finance, which is a relatively small program. So you have the run of the place, you get study rooms everywhere. Things change a little in fall, and then all the classes come, and things are really buzzing. And you have a mix of the core and the elective courses. So the red courses here are the electives. Some of those they're generally, every semester is cut in half, so it looks scary. You have 7 courses, but you're not taking all 7 at the same time. You might take 2, and then for a module, and then 3. And the fun part of this is the independent activities period in January, and that's MIT-wide, and it's really designed to give people a way to test out new things. We offer hundreds of electives and everything. I saw a 2-hour poker class with some professors. There's beer making. There's fun things that help you just sort of just try something new. But then there's also deep dives into lots of different things. You might take a 3-week intensive course. You might take a 2- or 3-day workshop type course. There's lots of things to choose from. If you're doing a thesis, this is generally when you really get a lot of that research done. International experiences, students will go as part of a lab, or they, I think Daniel, last year he went to Israel lab, but he just wanted to go, and they were doing an Israel lab, which I don't think he got into, or he didn't apply for, but he sort of found them over there, and then sneaked his way into the classes and got some credits. And, so they set up tons of different things, and then graduate in spring in the first week of June. So usually the new class arrives in June, and then the old class graduates that Friday, and there's a day overlap, and then we start all over again. Do you guys want to talk about some of the things you did in IIP, man, or Art actually was here? You two, are you planning anything? Like, what are you thinking of for IIP?
For me, most of it is going to be thesis, so I have planned to write thesis. So I already have submitted my proposal as of last week. So there's a lot of work. It's very demanding, right, to write thesis. So I would say 75% of my time is going into thesis.
And the poker class.
Poker,
That's
I
what you
have to take it.
I have to take it.
For me, I'm gonna do an independent study with Duncan, which I'm really excited about. I never thought I can think this way. So we're talking about 3D printing, something I've never thought about before coming to here, to MIT. And then the other thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take leadership classes, and then the other fun stuff that is available over here. So I'm really excited.
Duncan's awesome. He's a marketing professor. He's always everyone's favorite. I know he's done a lot of work with students in thesis, and he's still involved with several of the companies. I know some companies that started as a thesis in his class, and then it turned into a business plan, which turned into a company. And they were graduating SF16, the one I'm thinking about. And he's sort of on their board, and like he's still involved in a lot of different things. He's very supportive and open with the students.
For the Sloan Fellows in specific, yeah, he's so excited about us. He's so very supportive.
Yeah, the faculty I think really enjoy teaching this demographic because they're smart, they're experienced, they're engaged. They can bring a lot of knowledge to the class. So, you know, almost any case, when I sit in class, almost any case they bring up, somebody lived there, somebody was in that industry, somebody was in that company, somebody, you know, can really bring some amazing experience to the class. What did you do during, did you do thesis too?
I did this with professor semester, which was very, very special experience. And then I also cross-registered at Harvard Law School, which was a multiple course. I also took a patent law fundamentals, which I elected around that same time. And I was working on my thesis, so it was a busy.
So you mentioned Harvard electives. So core is open only to Sloan Fellows. The executive electives are in IIP are open to the executive MBAs, Sloan Fellow MBAs, and then alums of those two programs. So those are restricted. All of the electives are open to anyone in Sloan and actually anyone in MIT, and it's actually open to Harvard as well. And they do the same for us. So if you want to take a class of Harvard, it's possible. It can be challenging because their schedules don't always line up with our schedule specifically, but you can still do that, and a lot of people do like them. If they're very popular classes, we make them open to our students first, and then at a certain point we'll make it available to Harvard, and they do the same. So if it's a really popular class, it may not be in, but a lot of people will do that. Any questions about that? So some of the best things about when you're here, and I'm gonna have maybe each of you say the like 2 or 3 best things that you did while you're here. But MIT is as an institution. You have the Entrepreneurship Center across the street. It's open for all of MIT. So undergrads will be in there, 2-year MBAs, Sloan Fellows, everybody will be in there. And that's where a lot of the work, if you're interested in new ventures, will happen. There's mentoring services, there's lots of different support in your venture, looking at business plans, helping you flesh this out, helping you through that. There's the 100K competition. We had some fellows pitching some ideas, I think last week, the week before. There's all these other different challenges you can be a part of, and we have really world-class professors here helping to guide you. And I was talking to somebody yesterday who was concerned about, will MIT take a piece of the action? And we don't. We're not here to run companies. We're not here to own your companies. We're here to help you sort of launch yourself. Within Sloan, there's lots of choices in terms of clubs. There's just a million clubs. I don't know. You know, women's club. There's a fintech club, innovation club, an energy club. There's like all these ways that you can connect with other people that have similar interests to you. There's a lot of networking opportunities. Within Sloan, we do. I think some students often set them up with Harvard, HKS students. So there's speakers come in. The seminar leadership brings in really high level speakers. They're very interesting. I always volunteer for them because I love the people that we meet, the stories that they have. They're really amazing. And we have a career development office. I would say about the career development office that at this level, we're not looking to place you. We don't bring recruiters, but what we do is to help you with your leadership coach, your career coach, your academic coach, to understand what you want to be doing, help you clarify your goals, and then help you prepare your year here to help you be successful when you go back into the working world. So they're great. They've done a lot of sessions with you guys this year, like how to do your LinkedIn, how to do a resume, they'll bring how networking works in the US, how executive search firms work, that kind of thing, plus personal coaching as well. And within the MBA, there's some specifics that are very useful. The 360-degree leadership assessment, where you get feedback from your bosses, peers, and subordinates before you come. And then when you come here, we use that report as a basis for your personal coaching. So you'll get team and individual coaching. There's a big focus on that in the summer in terms of doing individual coaching and then working with your team. When you arrive, we'll have put you into a team of 5. And we deliberately make them very diverse. So we sit in the class with everyone who's met any of the candidates, the admissions people, the program director, anyone. And we talk about where they're from and sort of what we think about their personalities, how we could match them, make sure that they have geographically diverse, make sure they're functionally diverse. They're not all finance people. Sometimes that takes some time to sort of gel. And another thing is that when people come into the Sloan Fellows program, they're often very successful. They're very high level. They're not used to doing their own spreadsheets or, like, can you give me some coffee? And then you come here like, no, that's not going to fly. Like, we're all equal here. So like, there's a lot of adjustment and coaching, a lot of social events, action learning that's specific to Sloan Fellows. Those are project-based learning projects with industry. Money Talks, we have them every Friday or every other Friday.
Yes, we do.
Every
Friday.
Coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, so every program has its own thing. The 2-year MBA calls it the yarn, and we call it the muddy. And that's just gives people an opportunity. 2 or 3 people at each event will stand up and give their personal story. And I know last year Raji gave a presentation on Oman because he's from Oman and nobody even knew like where it was or what it was. So his was more like, this is my country, this is where I'm from. Others are very personal. I've been to a couple and they make me cry every time. People get really vulnerable, and it's a great way to get to know people. Have you guys done your wedding yet?
Not yet.
Did you do one?
I did.
You did? Did you like it?
In fact, KK and I were the organizers, so he did the first one, the very first one. And I did the last one, so I closed the year.
Some people get really nervous, but they're extremely vulnerable, and it just fits me. So anyway, let's talk about your academic journeys and some of the ways you can customize. So we were talking about some of the electives. The executive electives in January are open just to Sloan Fellows and MBAs and alums. Are you going this year? I keep putting you on the spot because you're the alum.
I might. I just received the email yesterday. I did register for the aviation class, the private pilot. Yeah, so I'm curious about that. I didn't know about poker, that might be an option. Or beer making.
So I think it's great that alums can still be a part of it and take part in the ongoing relationship. We've already talked about some are doing independent research or thesis projects. There's a lot of project-based learning, and we have Melissa Webster, who talks to the students about what kind of projects would you like to be involved in, and helps match students with project-based learning. Do either of you have any project? Are you doing any project-based learning?
Not with Noyes, but I do know people who have very good experience with these. Are handful of us working with them.
Yeah.
And we started working with Melissa pretty early, which was very good.
Yeah.
And they were very good handle on where they're going with their projects.
So that's when you're given a specific project with an industry, with a company, and then you're able to work on that. That's a great way to get hands-on experience in a new field or a new company. We do have certificates that you can get if you want to concentrate in a certain area in healthcare, sustainability, or business analytics. Anyone do a certificate?
Sustainability.
Yeah.
Business analytics.
Oh, okay, good. I think it's challenging to try to get all the work in, but the coaches work with you to make sure you can fit it in. You're only here for a year, so it's hard, but definitely possible. And business analytics we just added, I think last year, is very popular. So your support system, you have an amazing community of fellows and their partners and their families. The program team is always here to support you. The faculty, I think, are very supportive and responsive when you're looking for academic guidance. There's lots of events and clubs, and MIT offered family services to help you find a babysitter if you need one, or to help you find medical care and that sort of thing. Some apartments have events and things for families as well. So you really are sort of absorbed into the culture and the community. So this is this year's class. 37 different countries, 37 different industries. Year to year, these two stay the same, 38 years old average and 14 years of experience. Every year it comes out the same. So 80% of them are outside of North America. It's an incredibly diverse body. If you took a brochure, I always like to open it up and you see where they're from and what they do, and it's pretty amazing. 23% women, we're always looking to increase the number, so if you're a woman, please apply. So briefly, I'm going to just talk a little bit about admissions if you're worrying about that or wondering about that, and then I'm going to just open it to questions. So this, actually, I was doing this presentation, I think it was in India, and I can't remember, I think it actually might have been Pradeep here in the left. He's like, hey, that's the study team, and he goes through and he's like, in his class, so that's Pradeep, that's Tara, that's Katya, that's Anna Maria, that's Daisuke, and he's like, these guys, and they sort of went through everything, so they're what they did and where they are now, and actually Katya comes in now. I don't know if you probably met Katya, but she was an opera singer, so she was very unusual. Every now and then we get like really unusual background. So she was an opera singer, and she comes back now to talk to the class in terms of like stage presence. She will coach people that are looking to do the 100K pitch and things like that, and sort of like talk about your presence, how you can deal with nerves, sort of how to project. So she's very helpful with that. So we're looking for, the ideal candidate for us is a minimum of 10 years, that more is better, of full-time work after you graduate with your bachelor's. And it's not just the time, but what you've done in that time. So we're looking for career progression, for promotions, you're moving ahead faster than your peers, you're demonstrating leadership and impact in the organization, you've had demonstrated success. Management experience is very important, general management experience, so you're overseeing a division or P&L, that's really great. We'd like to see you have managed people and teams, and you can provide examples of that, and your recommenders can provide examples of your leadership, your impact. You have to be comfortable with quant. Coming in, like, everything at MIT is a number. It's not, I don't think it's like incredibly high level statistics and calculus, but you really do have to have a handle on it. Every class you go into, whether it's marketing or whatever, it's going to have some equations and some like histograms, and you're just going to have to be comfortable with those numbers. So make sure you do that. We're really looking for people who are trying to tackle big problems. They're innovating. They're coming up with new ideas and ways to address challenges in their workplace. Communicating effectively in English is very important. If your English is not strong, you should be practicing now. Take an English speaking class, because it's very important that you communicate your ideas to the class and share what you know. And the last piece is being self-aware and just coming here with an open mind. A lot of you are very successful. You manage your company. You're thinking, I'm all that. Excuse me. And you come here and you meet other people that are also all that, and you need to work with them. Excuse me. So, like learning, just being open to that, being open to feedback, learning how to work with other people is very important. And the collaborative, no fellow left behind that Erin was talking about, and that collaborative nature, we really try to foster here. So you're working, and I see it in your class. I've gotten such great feedback from the faculty about your class, and I see it on WhatsApp. I'm in E51, 273, and I'm here to answer any questions about finance. If anyone needs that, I've done it for years, and I'm here. I put together this spreadsheet. It's on Google Docs. It's got all this stuff. I see it all the time, and so it's not a competitive environment. It's really a supportive environment, and you're helping each other every day, and I think that's great. So the process you already started, just exploring and learning. So look at all the programs that are available. There aren't very many. But do your homework and see what you have. Look at other programs, sort of explore what they have, what their mission is, how you can visit the campuses. It's great that you're here. Sort of see what is resonating with you. I think MIT has this energy and this excitement, and that you can't really replace. This friendly, collaborative environment is pretty amazing. Applications, follow all the directions. First of all, can I do 3 recommendations? Can I do a 20-page resume? Like, just follow the directions. That's the first one. And this other thing is to be authentic. So a lot of people are using MBA counselors. That's fine, but make sure that your words are there, that you're the one doing the work. And I've actually had people tell me at the end, even if they didn't get in, they all say, you know what, I really enjoyed this process. The first time I've actually sat down and thought about what I want to do and where I want to go. and the things I want to accomplish in my life. And so take it as an opportunity to sort of think and refresh. And the last piece would be, don't stress about the video. Everyone stresses about that video. It's a new requirement as a lecturer. I mean, like Lucas Matos, he's like this big guy, and he comes in, he's like, you know, I did that 40 times. I was like so scared, like, what? Like, you don't look like you're afraid of anything. It's 60 seconds. People are always asking me, like, look at the camera, you're the subject, and just pretend you're in front of the class introducing yourself on the first day. So like relax and just say, hey, my name is so-and-so, you know, I live in Egypt and I've been in energy and gas for 10 years, but what I really like to do is golf on the weekends, and I'm also a kayaker or whatever. You know, just be yourself, 60 seconds, do not stress. And we really don't want it, do not edit it, we don't want it to practice, just be yourself. It's your chance to show us who you are. So these are the requirements. Don't need to go over any of them unless anyone has any questions about them. I think they're pretty straightforward. And the deadline is coming up. Round one, we're currently doing interviews globally and here in Cambridge. Decisions will be released on December 17th, and the next round is December 10th. If you're an international applicant, you should definitely apply by round two, because if you apply in round three, you don't get notified until March, the very end of March, and that doesn't give you time to get your visas or your planning to move and all that. So if you're an international applicant, December 2nd is what you should be looking at. So now I just want to open it up to panel. If you have any questions, or if you have any questions from the audience, just ask them what it's like. What it's, you know, whatever your burning questions are.
What's the difference between the regular MBA and Sloan Fellows?
The difference?
Mostly in terms of academics.
The academics aren't that different. So I think they have the same requirements actually, just Sloan Fellows is accelerated. So we don't, it's not MBA light. Some people think as, you know, executive education is MBA light. It's not, it's the same, but we do it in 1 year. The biggest difference really is the cohort. So they're not as international as the Sloan Fellows cohort. We're 80% outside of North America. I think maybe they're more like 45%. But their average years of work experience is a little under 5, and this program is 14. So the level of discussion, the level of experience in your peers is very, very different. I will say the electives are open to 2-year MBA, so you do get the advantage of meeting masters in finance and analytics and 2-year MBAs, and they are very strong. So it's a really nice group. But the Sloan Fellows, really, they're very experienced. They've been around the world. They've led companies. They've been through disasters, you know, like, so the things that you learn from them is incredible.
So how...
Also add the faculty that teaches Sloan Fellows is definitely different in terms of their experience as well. So I do think...
The faculty? Yeah, so the faculty here tend to be very hands-on, and they've been in the business world. So they're not generally just theoreticians. They've actually led companies. They've been in the world. And they love teaching fellows because, what I said earlier, that you're so experienced and you have so much to add.
The conversation we have in class, I mean, the debates and whatnot, it is very enlightening. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I really like when some of our cohort chime in and give their opinion and some stuff, because you tend to learn from your cohort as well. So I find that very, very important for me.
So higher requirements are mostly to be in line with your like students, your peers, rather than to be eligible for the higher academics. I mean higher requirements in terms of work experience, etc. There are in Sloan Fellows to be more in line with the students' body than to be eligible for the higher academics. So academics are the same,
yes,
mostly, but... Well, the courses, you know, the core MBA courses, we're going to take financial management, operations, they're going to do the same. But you are going to be in a different cohort. You may have different faculty that are older, I don't know, actually. So the academics are very similar. But for instance, I was in a class that Simon Johnson was doing, and I love going to his classes. They're the best, global markets and strategies. If you're not taking his class, you must. Because I told Giannis, it's not a core anymore, it's an elective. He goes, no, everyone should take it. So Simon Johnson's global market strategies is amazing. So one of the classes I attended, he was looking at the rise of Japan. I think it was Japan and Korea, and the energy. Actually, no, it was mining. So they had this case, and he sets it up, and then he goes, okay, so anyone here from Korea and Japan, and he writes their names down. Anyone here that knows mining, he writes it down. He goes, okay, now you guys just be quiet. And we're going to talk about this case. And so everyone like mouths off about what they think is going on. It's like, hey, now let's go back and ask these people. You lived there. You were there. You were in this, you know, what happened? What was really happening? What were people thinking? What was going on economically and socially and culturally that impacted this change? And that's sort of the kind of thing that you can really get in classes. It's real. Like you're not just, you may be reading cases, but that's just the springboard for lots of other ideas and input and learning. So.
And I never mentioned that. I applied to that class because you mentioned it in one of our meetings, and I quite enjoyed it so much.
I just love it. We signed up for maybe a class a week, and I always used to go for Simon, so because I think they're really great. Or Duncan's. I love Duncan's classes.
I think I mentioned to you when we were speaking is, I think comparing the programs in terms of academics is a fair question. But I do think that Mrs. point that the value of the program is beyond the academics. You have the world-class faculty, and then being in an MBA program, the full-time MBA or the Sloan Fellows, allows you access to these courses. So in that sense, but I would agree with Reham that you learn as much from the faculty as you learn from your board. The dynamics of the classroom interaction is much different. The MBA students are wonderful and great, and that's why you have the elective, so you have that access. But MBAs don't have what we have. So that's in addition to the MBA. Right? One thing I learned while doing my thesis, so this concept of what they call this economy of time compression. That thing is real because it's an intensive program. Things that you can do over 2 years, and if you're a reflective learner, and most people are, you definitely have more time to go in depth in certain topics. So in that sense, there is that difference. I would argue that though, and for me personally, and for the type of students that Sloan Fellows attract, that 1 year intensity I'd say is a perfect timing. Though I do sense, as you mentioned, once the program is over, and it's an abrupt transition, the lessons of the program, they continue, and 1 year, this is my second year following graduation, and apart from the direct feedback you get and networking, the lessons and the questions that professor asked, inviting you, those seeds start giving feedback now, and that's really what the program is all about. Those three items. So that's to the academics. So I would not necessarily put that as in my view, frankly, it's even a tertiary factor. By the time you graduate, it becomes it's a wonderful tertiary factor. There's so much more to the program than academics.
I want to just mention one. So I was at an info session, and alum was there saying, I always said, what are the big things you took out of the program? And I always hear confidence. And then one of the other alums said, it took me like 5 years for it to finally hit me, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm thinking differently, I'm doing differently. Like Giannis just said, I never could have done a strategic plan in 3 weeks without this. I did it in 10 days, and it was amazing. And he thought that maybe.
Cathryn, I come from a corporate life, and I work mainly in M&A deals, everything structure, execution. And I come here and I take new enterprise classes, and I surprise myself on the way I think that is very different. I never thought I could think that way, or I could explore this, or I could come up with these ideas. And I would have never thought that I have the capabilities to look as an entrepreneur with an entrepreneurship eyes. This has all happened within that program. It's amazing for me. That's a revelation for me, and it's so much self-assuring.
Yeah, so you're getting that confidence already. You're only here like 4 months. And I also did want to mention something that Art mentioned, is that the role of academics here. Obviously, they're very important. You're getting your MBA. But I think hopefully the sense you're getting from the program team is like that's really important. The academics are very strong. But what you really need to do is like network, learn from your peers, get involved in other things, do research, be in a conference, look at new ventures, be in the media lab, do other things here as well. So the academics are very important, but the whole experience is really what you're trying to take from this.
So you're mentioning about being open and embracing what the program has to offer, but is there a need for a specific goal that you're looking out at, or you kind of dynamically evolve your goals once you're with the program and change your trajectories Right, like how many percentage do that and how does it work?
Well, I think about 45% of the class are sponsored, so they're tending to go back to their companies, and they will often arrange new roles. So Giannis actually, he's an attorney. He was an attorney for Coca-Cola. He came here and he went back and he took a strategic role, and he's like, I never thought I'd be in strategy. I'm an attorney. So he did that for 6 months, and I thought I'm really sort of, I like doing a strategy, but it's hard if it doesn't get executed. And a company like that, the execution becomes really hard. And he's like, so I'm going to do something else. So now he's a chief innovation officer, and he's looking at how we can innovate, how we can foster innovation here, how we can pull startups in. So there's a lot of change. Another alum that graduated in 2016 worked for the Development Bank of Japan. He created a role himself. He was the first employee in the United States for Development Bank of Japan. And he set up a subsidiary in New York City, which he's just finished. It's taken him over 2 years to get that done. It was a lot of work, but he just is thrilled, So a lot of people that go back that are sponsored, they can create these great roles, maybe expand, be global, whatever. The rest, I would think, and you can sort of share your opinion, they're all at some sort of transition point, I would say. And they're all looking to, some are pretty clear about what they want. And they're trying to accelerate the career, but I'd say most of them are trying to transition or pivot. And the recommendations that we give you is to be very clear when you come here about what you want to do. I tell people, go on the website, learn as much as you can, what the options are. And then when you come here, you have an idea of some of the things you can do. Talk to alums, talk to students, and have a goal. Because there's so many things here that you need to be able to prioritize your time. It's like you're like a kid in a candy store. You're like Disneyland. There's so many things to do. So you really need to sort of think very carefully about what you want to do coming out and what experiences and things can I put in place to make sure I'm successful. That said, also be open to new things, because a lot of people come in with that goal and then they're like, no, I want to do fintech, or something completely different. But that's okay, because now you have a new goal, right? You have a new way to prioritize your time. In any case, you really have to think carefully about what you want, make your choices, give you some time. I think the ones that struggle the most are the ones that they're like, oh, I want to try that. I'm like, sustainability sounds great, but maybe analytics, and like, well, maybe I'll do fintech and go to the digital currency initiative. And I think those are the ones that really struggle because they haven't found their focus. Do you have anything to say about that?
I would, because I came here with a very tight focus on what I wanted to do. I mean, I think I had explored the program very well before I even applied. So I did some campus. I spoke to many people to make sure that I am investing in the right program for this 1 year. It wasn't easy for me to do that. So I think I did have a very sharp focus, but I have changed. It's very, very difficult. MIT makes it, the Sloan program makes it very difficult for you to remain focused on it. There's so much going on. And I think I realized during the summer itself, maybe this is the best time to even experiment. There is, no harm in trying, right? Where you're here and you have a very, very strong ecosystem, not only in terms of what Sloan offers, even in terms of your class, right? The cohort that you have. And you have all the support that you can ask, or even, you don't even think about at times. So as I mentioned, I come from human resources background, so I did want to write a thesis, which I'm still doing. I wanted to get a business analytics certificate, which I'm still pursuing. But it has taken, I would say, at this point, a backseat, and I'm working on a startup idea. So I am enrolled in Margin Trust Center of Entrepreneurship, and I'm doing new ventures. With a team of maybe 2 more, we applied to Sandbox, right? We got some funding. So I mean, that is what I'm working on at this point, which was nowhere I had planned.
But Sandbox is an initiative here at MIT that provides small amounts of money, I think $1,000 or $2,000, maybe some office space more. But you can go back and get more. Yes. So, I mean, but it's just to get some new ideas started. And then I'm going to do a seminar, I think, next week or the week after on the entrepreneurial environment. So if you start small with this idea, you take a class and you just go to the entrepreneurship center, and then you can do the Sandbox, and then maybe you can do, you get money from another accelerator, and then you can go all the way up to Mass Challenge, which is a Massachusetts-wide accelerator, or even Techstars, which I think is national. So we've had some students that get accepted into that, and they really get a lot of funding and notice. So there's sort of that journey. Do we have any questions online, or are we good?
Some folks want to know about living in Cambridge with your family, and when did you start looking for housing in Cambridge?
Yeah, I can answer that because I moved from Atlanta to Boston with my family, and I have a 3.5-year-old daughter as well. I started looking for housing only after I got accepted. So I did not.
Which round did you apply for? When was that?
Third round.
Oh no.
So I would not recommend anyone to wait until that point because it's not really good for you. I would say because it takes too much effort to find. But I think in a way I was comfortable because I was not new to the US, right? I had a very good idea of how the housing works, what are the requirements, because I've been in States for the last 7 years. So I did a lot of research, I would say, online to make sure which are the apartments that I'm looking for, what are the school options or daycare options for my daughter. So I did that work in a way. But I think most of the work really started for me in April, which was very late. I would recommend if you're planning to move with family, apply as early as possible so that you have clarity if you're moving, relocating or not. And after that, I think you will have enough support. You could reach out to Sloan Fellows. You could reach out to, there is a Students Life Center. They will give you enough information to plan out where to look for accommodation, for your, options for your children, maybe to the school or daycares. For me, I would say I didn't really find any problem in terms of, managing that. It's just that for me it was at the last minute, so it was a kind of a rush at times, but it was just my own situation because I decided to apply, later in the process, and then that's where.
I would say I had to make a move in the middle of the class, and I still managed to do it, and it was seamless. I mean, we are in the US, so it is easy. It's not that difficult for anybody who's living abroad and wondering about living in Cambridge. I think access over here, moving your stuff is so easy, and then the cohorts we would share. I need somebody to help me set up a sofa. Okay, take that guy.
I would get WhatsApp pictures of like 8, people with their wrenches, like helping somebody else.
Yeah, carrying things together and setting up things together. So, I mean, we all help each other. So it made it very easy.
I think my only advice would be reach out. At times you just don't make that effort to ask. Yeah. So just don't be afraid. I mean, if you're struggling or if you have a very basic question, just reach out. You will be surprised how many people are willing to help.
A couple of weeks ago, I needed a toolbox, so I sent over some fellas. I needed a toolbox. Okay, I'll send it to you by Uber right now, and you have it. So I need to come and help you out. So.
They're very helpful. Yeah, and Art has two kids as well, so you had to move here.
Two kids, and that's another reason to apply around too, because the moment you have your admission letter, and you want the children to be at the MIT daycare, that's when you apply, because it's harder to get into MIT daycare than to MIT. So the moment you have and we were lucky, it took only 4 months. But it was great, and that's the communal aspect of the program. We still are at the third square, which is literally 3 minutes away from the school. And it was super convenient. Many fellows with families choose that location. There's a nice courtyard, so family friendly. But it was really great. You have about maybe 20 plus fellows families, and that becomes your own as a third square mafia. And the courtyard willing, all this, just in the mornings walking my son to school, you inevitably meet someone every morning. So it becomes this little village everywhere, and it had a very special experience. It's not as affordable to live in Kendall Square, but I would recommend. We had many fellows who choose because they have older kids, because of schools, they would live farther. It's a wonderful experience for the kids. So it's a 1 year investment, if you will, and the formative years for my children. Probably with this first meaningful friendship that was formed at Third Square with my study group's mate's son. Unfortunately left. And that's also, we have to say, when the time comes for families to leave, it's very emotional. It is. It is.
I think, was your son, he was friends with one from Japan, or was that another one? They were like together. Yeah, they just moved really far away. So for housing, we do have on-campus housing, we have off-campus housing. Once students are accepted, we have a series of webinars to just sort of, usually we have a panel of current students and alums just so you can sort of talk about what the experience is. You're trying to decide if you want to come here or not, making your decision. Information about schools and housing, and we'll have a panel of people to talk about where they live and why, the schools that they go to. We also be giving a lot of resources that have been compiled over the years from the program team, but also additions from the class. So there's a lot of recommendations on, check this out, check that out. There's a lot of links, check out these apartments. This is how realtors work. During orientation, you will have the opportunity to see some housing, but as saying it's a little bit late in the cycle, so you should really do your research in advance, although a lot of leases are signed in orientation. So there's a lot of information there, a lot of support.
I think for kids, especially if you're looking at MIT daycares, and as I've mentioned, it's true that you will have a long wait list there. But if you take action in time, reach out to the registration, person there, they will give you a good sense of what does the wait list look like, and you can plan. Like for me, for my daughter, I had her with a nanny for 3 months because I had a very good sense that my daughter would get into daycare by October. So it wasn't that difficult just because you had that information. It's just that you will still have to make multiple arrangements, so we'll have to be prepared for that. But I think if you just reach out and get the information, you will get the right information and you will do the plan accordingly.
Are there any scholarships offered? I see on the online there are a couple of Fort and Dean scholarships.
Yeah, so the admissions committee will award about maybe 15% of the class, awards in the range of $10,000 to $25,000. Some of them are earmarked for Forte Foundation for women. They're based on need, merit, and diversity. So that's what the admissions team will offer you with your acceptance letter. If you go to the website, there's a link to lots of other funding sources. So, and there's
credit union and stuff.
Yeah, so most students that are self-funded will go through the Federal Credit Union. They offer loans and they're guaranteed for international students, so they don't get a co-signer. So there's lots of other, if there's a link on the page, if you go to admissions and financial, I think it's called tuition and expenses, there's explanation of the ones we award, but then you can also go to the Office of Graduate Education, which oversees a bunch of other awards that are nutty. I mean, like I think we have one guy here who's on a BC scholarship because we have a scholarship funded by a BC alum that MIT can award. So he's on that. You're from the government of Egypt. They sponsor several, I think 10 scholarships per year at MIT. So like there's all these crazy, if you're from Israel, if you're, look and see if you're able to do that. Others can get it through the government, sometimes through companies. Any other questions? Okay, maybe just we're gonna go down the low and just sort of, I don't know, a piece of advice or like the best thing you've ever done here or that you're gonna do, and maybe some advice for people that are in your shoes a year ago.
My advice would be to do a very thorough job of, what, in terms of your research, in terms of what the program offers and why do you want to do it. I do think it's a very special place to be in, but it's very difficult or very easy for you to even get lost, right? And then see, why did I do it? So please have utmost clarity as much as you can as to why do you want to do it, and why specifically Sloan Fellows program. And I'm sure you would not be disappointed if you do that. For me specifically, I think I did that work, and this is the only program I applied to because for me there was no other alternative, honestly. And it's not only in the States. I looked through all geography that I've been in. I worked in LATAM, I worked in India. For me, there was no other alternative, and I was convinced that this is the program. If at all I want to invest this 1 year in for myself. In terms of what I enjoyed most, I think it's really the cohort, I would say. There are times when I felt that, overwhelmed just because of the knowledge that people come with, the diverse experience they come with. And at the same time, they're very humble at the same time. So I think for me, that has been the best part of being at Sloan Fellows. And for me, that's really the summer, because you really get to talk to your cohorts and watch. You work very, very closely with them. Vinam and I were part of the same lab team as well. I think the friendships or the connection that you make during the summer, it is invaluable. You will really make friends for life, and you will be surprised as to how different are they from you. It's just amazing.
For me, I think I'd like to answer the question that you asked earlier. Focus, I think, helps. Focus helps not necessarily for accomplishing that specific objective, which in itself is wonderful, but really using that as a way to navigate and learn new things. So being open while having some interest at the beginning is very helpful. Though just 2 weeks into the program, I knew that whatever I had has to be, so there's time to learn to be still and think and be creative, and then there's time to execute.
And it's a 1 year, so be prepared to make those strategic decisions rather quickly. But again, the value of the program is about being open and to learn to really absorb all these wonderful things. A year at MIT is frankly just enough time to learn to navigate the whole place. So establishing the connection, the relationship with faculty, with friends really is the conduit to learn. Because all your friends will be out there doing their thing and you don't have to do everything. But having the WhatsApp and this connection, you learn from your friends. You get engaged, you doing this startup. So really that's the exposure, and that's what somewhat is different also from a regular MBA program. Yet the intensity of it is also, I felt compelled when I would come here with the objective, we want to execute, we measure success based on certain milestones, which is wonderful, certificates, etc. It will all come. So plan then accordingly. Just timing of the program is critical. There's so many deadlines and things that happen that if you were just focused on that, as you said, there's a life beyond the river, but the geography is limited to Kendall Square. So learning to break through, the connect across is really where the true value of the program, I think, manifests itself.
Now, I would say whatever Cathryn said about joining the program, I had a lot of thoughts. I had a great job and exciting one, and I thought about it a lot before coming. I think what pushed me to come over here is being afraid of 5 years later, I'm there doing the same job, looking at my colleagues. So I took the chance to give myself this year, and it has been so rewarding. It's so humbling. To be with a cohort is so intimidating as well, because of the brains that are around you and the experiences that are around you are very intimidating at the beginning. I used to be leading my own teams and people are reporting to me, so I come here and, oh God, this is much more smarter than me. Oh, this is, and then I learned by time to let go of that, accept the experiences around me, absorb it, and try to learn from them. So this is an advice. Bond with your cohort, try to learn from them, don't be intimidated, absorb it. And so this is a big thing for me. I will use this to repivot my career into renewables. So I've been working oil and gas. So the connections and the network. We've been in New York last couple of weeks ago. We had a leadership week that we were immersed with global leaders. In Morgan Stanley, a Nobel Prize laureate, the kind of conversation that we had and the experience that was shared, the questions, it was fantastic. So I would say, I mean, I have zero regrets. I do regret that I didn't join a little earlier than this. This was the only thing that I would think of. So this is my experience so far.
Thank you. You know, what's funny is that every year during orientation, people come up to you and go, what am I doing here? You're so amazing. And I'm like, relax, you are also amazing. You have your story to share. And you can be part of this. And then one more story about Giannis, because he was in on Tuesday, we sat down and he said, you know, I came to this program and I had this big chip on my shoulder. You're like, I'm something, you know, and I've done this and I've done that. And he goes, within 3 weeks, chip gone, you know, like, I've learned that, you know, we all have so much to learn, and I'm just here to learn. So there is that initial, like, how am I ever going to fit in? Everyone's so smarter than me. But then you sort of like settle in and think, yeah, but I can run with these dogs, right? You know, like I can be a part of this. So, and that's where a lot of the confidence comes in. So thank you so much for coming. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much to the panel. I really appreciate your taking the time for your busy day. So thank you. And you need to ask any questions afterwards. I'm happy to answer. So.
Thanks.
Sure.